When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease College YouTube channel. Today's video, we are going to be talking about Mel. I don't know if I've actually done a Winds of Winter video on Melisandre before. I know I've included her in like my special videos, but I don't think I've ever done like a Melisandre Winds of Winter prediction. And this is maybe a video that I've kind of strayed away from for a while because I'm just not sure. And I want to talk about it in this video because I think I initially think that Mel has a straightforward trajectory, but after a point, it's going to be really hard to figure out what happens to Mel. But let me know down in the comments, what are your predictions for Mel? Do you think she's going to live through the story? I think that one's very unlikely. But what do you think her big impact on the story is going to be? But yeah, so before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do. It helps the channel grow, reach a people that might like this content as well. So, Melisandre, the last time we see her, she is at the wall. She is still kind of up there with Jon. And I think most people have thought that she is going to be in some way or another involved in Jon being risen, in Jon's resurrection. And I think this makes sense for a couple reasons. We've already seen that the Red God has been able to bring people back. I think Jon has to come back. I don't think his story is done yet. I think there are still some unanswered questions and things that, for me, still need Jon to be alive. And I have said in the past, I actually don't mind if Jon dies because I like his arc in Dance. But I think there's just some questions that have been left open with who are Jon's parents and what is that relevance to the story. And also Robb's will, which could implicate Jon as being an actual Stark and make him the successor of the King of the North. So I think there's some things there that Mel is going to be involved with. And I think specifically because we know that Shireen is going to get burned. Because again, this was told to D&D by George. This is one of the plot lines or things that he said was going to happen. So how is it going to happen differently in the books? Or could it maybe happen somewhat similarly in the show? I don't think it can happen the same way in the show. The best comparison that maybe we could see with the show to book would be that Shireen lives basically until Stannis maybe takes Winterfell, and then Stannis burns Shireen as a last like thing when the others are coming. I don't think it just doesn't make sense for it to happen that long, or for Shireen to survive that long. Me, I think Shireen is a character that's going to die quite early on. And I've talked about that in the past, but I think the way we see this happen, I think a couple things are going to happen. One, we know that the pink letter reaches Jon. So the information in the pink letter is going to be spread as rumor as what happened, right? So Mel is going to find out that Stannis died, that Jon is now dead, that he was betrayed. So Mel's world is going to kind of come crumbling down. And I think the way that Mel is going to try and fix this issue, to whether that's actually to purposely bring back Jon, which I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be to help Stannis, to do a big sacrifice. Because, again, from Mel's point of view and the information she knows at this moment, Stannis is dead. And he has been defeated, right? That's what the pink letter states. That Ramsay has Lightbringer, all of these other things. I think Mel will try to then burn Shireen to maybe awaken Stannis or to bring back his force. Now, I don't think that's what it's going to do, and very often we see that blood magic does not go exactly the way people think it's going to. And it could be as easy as this, where Mel says, bring back Azor Ahai, or that is what her intention is, not actually stating Stannis. And that may bring back Jon. Now, that could be one theory as to how that goes, because I think Jon, his spirit or his being, is actually in Ghost right now. So I think the way that you could maybe rationalize it is that this sacrifice would then bring that spirit or Jon's psyche back into his body and revive his body. That's one way you could rationalize it. And I think if that is the case and Shireen is burned, there will be major consequences for Mel, just like we saw on the show. Mel, is she going to die at this point? No, I don't think that makes sense to Mel's character. I think there's more to Mel at that point than just being this plot device to revive Jon. And I think the way the story has been set up with Mel being introduced as a POV character in Dance, I think she will be more of a pivotal POV within the North as the Wall POV. Because I'm still uncertain if John will have a POV going forward. Characters that are brought back tend to not have a POV. Catelyn, again, is that kind of character. And maybe that's because Catelyn can't really talk that well, or Lady Stoneheart can't talk. Maybe that's why. But John is a character that maybe we just don't see his POV for a while, and it just goes to Mel for a while, and we're seeing people look at John in kind of wonder and observing how he changes after death. So to me, I think Mel becomes this character where she stays around in the North for a while. And I think eventually, whether this is John getting rid of her or Stannis getting, I don't think Stannis is going to get the opportunity. I think Stannis will maybe run into Mel at the very end of kind of story or Winds of Winter, and he's going to be wanting to kill her, but John just sends her away, maybe something like that. I think the show had it right that Mel gets exiled, and I think they were on the right path with what I would assume Mel is going to do, where she basically is going to research how to defeat the others and gaining some more of that power, whether that's getting kind of the whole religion of R'hllor against the others, getting the other priestesses or priests involved in this war and bringing them back to Westeros. I think that could be an interesting plotline we could go with Melisandre. There could be other things, just maybe spreading the idea of the others and building on that and trying to unite people. I think all of those are pretty good answers as to what could happen with Mel's character. I think Mel's overall journey, though, is going to lead her back to being this person that I think will be a sacrifice to the others. I don't think Mel survives this story. I think her story, again, very similar to the show, but I think very differently. Where Mel kind of went out on her own terms and died, I think Mel will be a character more that is a very active, fighting the others, and will die with the others as well. I think the two are tied together, of the idea of fire and ice, and I think the two will go out pretty similarly. Or maybe if there's a truce, I could very easily seeing Mel then at that point leaving the story. But let me know what you guys think about Mel. This is kind of a quicker video. Mel is a character I don't have a set idea of where I think she's exactly going to go. Like other characters, I have a pretty certain idea of what I think. For instance, like characters like Young Griff, Cersei, Jaime, certain characters like that, I have a very like structured way of thinking of how they're going to go. Mel is just not one of those. Mel kind of reminds me of a character like Bran, where there's a lot of gray there for me that I think George could go a lot of different ways with those characters. And I think I'm going to end up doing a Bran video soon because I just don't really do Bran videos. I'm not a big fan of Bran in general, but I want to do one on that as well, just because I haven't really talked about it too much on the channel. But let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.